proudest day, and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 41. And Connor, we're going to talk rallying once again. And in this episode, I suppose, before we start, can you do like, share, subscribe? All those things make a huge difference. And there have been some very nice comments this last couple of weeks, and we gratefully appreciate it. And the 5-star reviews are going down a treat as well, so thank you very much. And this week, we're going to talk mostly forestry rally, and we have a lot to cover there with the Bushwhacker and the Clare stages coming up. Bushwhacker happened last weekend, Clare stages coming up now in a couple of weeks' time. But this weekend coming up, then also we have the Cork20, the final round of the Irish Tarmac Championship, and that's going to be a cliffhanger there too, as well too. But yeah, Bushwhacker last weekend. Once again, Omo Motor Club pulled it all the stops. Fantastic event.
Yeah, look, feedback from the event seems to be, extremely positive amongst the competitors, and boy, it did not disappoint. Like, that was one heck of a battle between Cathal McCord and Patrick O'Brien.
Yeah, 4 years in a row now, and it is bonkers tough, like 0.7 of a second, like 2 blinks of an eye. What is it? If you put it in car distance, it's probably not even a quarter of a car when you think of it that way. Like over 41 miles. It's how how do they even be measured? It's crazy, isn't it?
I know, you kind of wondered if Cat can go back and think, was that a wheel spin? Was it a gear change? Was it a cut, a corner that wasn't cut quick enough? Incredible to think that's what split the two of them. Yeah,
that's for sure. And absolutely, and boy, were they committed. It was unreal to watch. It was an absolute pleasure. The two of those guys and everybody else as well too. It was some fantastic driving there last weekend. And we get a chance then to talk to Patrick O'Brien, the winner of the event. And then I also caught up with him was Derek Mackarel and Cian McGirr, the overall champion and the two-wheel drive champion. And then, as well as that, I also spoke then to Cian Donnellan. He is the press officer for the Irish Forestry Championship. Patrick O'Brien, you went into the Bushwhacker at the weekend with a great big target in your back. But, you come out with another one. That's 4 in a row. That was some driving at the weekend.
Yeah, it was a bit of pressure going to it. Obviously, you have 3 wins under your belt, but we weren't really thinking like that. We were trying to just go again, and you start at 0. Everybody starts at 0 on the morning, on the Saturday morning. So a big push all day with Gahan and everyone else. And if we slipped up, there was an Ironman ticket, so a big push.
Yeah, and the club had done wee tweaks to the stages, and they're always trying to improve things, make things better. And I think this year was probably as faster than I've ever seen the Bushwhacker before.
Exactly. Like the very first stage, none of us had done it at all. Well, part of it had never been done before at all. I don't think ever has been used. Right. So that was good. It's obviously an opportunity, and yeah, Johan took that opportunity and kept us in there. But it was very, very interesting and great to mix it up. Like, the club's always doing something to change it, and they put so much effort into trying to run the best rally possible. And yeah, I think they do that. They do that job right.
Because we spoke after the Lakeland, the Enniskillen Motor Club put on an absolutely cracking event, and I was thinking to myself, that's it. Like, this is the cream is risen to the top. It doesn't get better than this. But Omo once again done it, didn't they?
Exactly, and for some reason too, I think the pace just goes another step up as soon as you come to Oma. It just seems to get all a lot quicker. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, it's fantastic. And the stage conditions, and even the way the rally was timed, there was everything was on time straight into the stage in a way. And it was brilliant, fantastic job by Motor Club.
Because as you say, the amount of top guys that were there, I know Jason Mitchell unfortunately didn't make the start, but McCullough was back out again, Vivian Hamill was chomping at the bit. It was so, that's something, and I'm going to forget people, so I'm going to stop naming names, but there was so many people that could have been, all looking to get onto that podium.
Yeah, exactly. It was great to see Nell on the first stage back up there. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a slip off, but yeah, he still has it,
Yeah,
which is good to see. So yeah, a bit more seat time. I'd say he'll be back to have an hour crack at it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And we mentioned before, that what is it so special about the Bushwhacker? And anybody that was there at the weekend knows what was so special about the Bushwhacker. It's the fantastic stages. The weather now is a blessing, but the pace was just epic there at the weekend. Like yourself and Catherine McCourt come down to a shit out once again. Like that's your 4-1s. Catherine has been second each of those 4 years. Like he's probably wondering where he's ever going to catch a break.
Yeah, no, the pace is absolutely crazy. I genuinely don't think there's any other rally in Ireland where the pace is that high. Like it's just you can't make a wrong move, a wrong gear change, and it's done. Like he has you in there. But yeah, that's 4 times now. And look, this weekend was probably the hardest one of them all. Like I kind of thought the guy was going to get it, to be honest, to the last days, and had to clear the mind and pull the belts in and go for it. So yeah, it was very, very tough.
Because I think it was the end of the 4th stage you were speaking to Killian Duffy, and like you had threw everything at it, and you said if he beats me in that stage, he deserves it. Like you felt you had drove obviously as close to a perfect stage as possible, and next thing Catherine rolls in behind you, and it's like 3.2 of you.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the package that we had, there was 0 left. I was on absolute limit in there, and using all of the road and more. Decided to get time back, but yeah, Jan came back and took a bit out of us, and I thought, Jesus, this is tough work here. He's hard work, definitely, but yeah, it was a fantastic rally, and to be in a battle like that brings you on as well. So there's no words.
Did you find another level within yourself, even on that last stage on the Saturday?
Definitely. Like I knew sitting there was going to be tough. It was 12 kilometers that stage to basically take back 2 seconds, and 2 seconds doesn't sound like much here, but it sounds like a lot when you're sitting there in that stage. Yeah. And Jan's behind you, so yeah, it was a massive push and kind of a do or die moment.
And like, what's the conversation like between yourself and Stephen? Your brother, as you're just rolling up to that start line.
In fairness, we don't say much. Like you kind of know it's just as hard as it possibly goes. Like, and we didn't really say too much. I think when we found out the time from the previous stage, he had an hour a little bit out of us, and on the road section, I said, "This is going to be some fucking mission." So, yeah, just pull the belts in and do the best you can, and that's all you can really do.
Yeah, and did it feel like the perfect stage? Was it as close to perfection as you've ever been, maybe?
It was good. It was a very, very good stage. I don't think we had any really big moments or anything. Okay, you're using every piece of the road, but I knew when I got the end of it, it's very clean and very sharp run through that stage. And look, we didn't lose any time and we never left anything behind. So it was brilliant. And also it was good that Gahan got a good clean run to it as well. And it was proper fair racing. And, that was it.
Because it was there wasn't a puncture, there was nothing silly happened. It was just a good, clean, fair fight right from start to finish.
Exactly, like there was no shit left, or it was just straight fight up, and that was it. And you couldn't get really any closer. Like you couldn't flip to do it.
0.7 of a second. You couldn't, by the time you say it, it's gone.
I think somebody said to me the other day that you blink is 0.4 of a second it takes you to blink. So 2 blinks and it was someone else has it.
Like after whatever 41 mile, 0.4 of a second, like Hollywood would write something like that, would they?
I know it's madness. Like it's crazy. They were driving that fast, and that's all the split the two of us.
Yeah, and like if anybody hasn't watched, there's loads of footage up there, Flying Finn, Mad for Tar. Go and watch, because it was serious commitment, and not just by the top 2, but right throughout the whole field. Like the Irish Forestry Rally has just gone on leaps and bounds this last few years.
Exactly, and just touching back on what you said there, like I was watching some of the videos, and even the guys in the Novas and the Corsas, Jesus, I would not want to be in the passenger seat of that show. You think we're going quick, and then you see him coming in there, back with me. The pace throughout the whole field was absolutely fantastic, and great that everyone is safe and enjoyable rally, like, and go and have a few beers after.
And like, you know, next year then's coming up is the, you know, the 50th anniversary of the rally, and like Oma Motor Club has already had one eye on next year. Like, they're going to pull out all the stops to make that an even better event, and it's hard to imagine how they can improve on it.
Aye, exactly. Like, it's madness. We went for a few beers after rally, and straight away everyone was talking about, you know, would you go for try for 5? We're like, they were still on the same day as the rally just finished, and we're talking about next year, like, and that's fantastic. It'll be great to see it, and hopefully they can put on maybe the 2-day next year again.
Yeah, because like for we were out spectating, Kevin O'Riordan was there, you know, like a legend of the you know, of rallying, especially around that whole Oma, you know, Castledurg area as well. And like, just even listening to him tell the stories about rallying years ago, and then him watching you guys, and he's saying like, this is insane, this is you know, this is way beyond everything we were doing. Like, you know, the Bushwhacker has been built on names like that. Like, your father's name's on the trophy. Like, there's so many names, there's so many legends of the sport that, you know, that made this rally what it is now today.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even when we had finished the rally, Robbie McGirr come driving in and just put the window down, and he was asked me, "Geez, you left that one late, Cub." Yeah, definitely. He was just asking me, what was the last stage like? And I was just telling him I was flat out. And he said, "Yeah, I know the feeling."
But
pretty good.
It is, you know, and like that, you know, you are now regarded in the same, you know, caliber as the, you know, the Robbie McGirks and these guys. You know, you, like, in years to come, you will be one of those legends. You know, does that hit you, or is it you're just in the moment really at this stage?
No, I don't really think of that too much. Just back to zero and having a crack with it maybe next year and see what happens. But no, maybe someday when I'm old, I'll look back and think it's pretty cool.
Something to tell the grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you know, at the moment, that's it for rallying for now. Anyway, you're getting on the big bird and heading back to Australia now in the next few days, really.
Yeah, exactly. So back to Australia now to try to make a few pounds to go rallying again, maybe. But yeah, it doesn't bother me too much to get away for a while, and the hunger brings back. And yeah, maybe next year we'll have upgraded the song, maybe more new. I need it.
And in the meantime, Kevin can get her fixed up, by the way.
She's actually not too bad. She didn't get it too sore. I don't know how, but yeah, we'll see.
But in reality, that is testament to how good, you know, the quality of the stages were in the Lakeland and the Bushwhacker. Like, they didn't cut up, they weren't rough by any manner of means.
No, exactly. Like, and that's that car that we have now is basically, well, it's nearly new. It's a brand new shell and everything. Like, so just was taking a look at it today. Like, and it's in some shape again. Like, and it just shows you how smooth the gravel rallies are here at the minute.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like we said then, you know, yeah, it has to be in the back of the head, the drive for 5 then.
I will see. It'll be nice to have an hour going it, but look, I don't know what see what happens. I'll probably be there. Probably will, yeah.
Yeah, because like I was just looking there at the times over the past 4 years. I think it's less than 15 seconds has covered you and Captain over 4 years. Like, that is insane. Like, you know, there's rallies decided by lots more than that, or a lot less than that. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, if you won the rally by 15 seconds, like, you'd be thinking, Jesus, was tight enough. But yeah, over what,
for
4 years? Jesus, mad. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be getting quicker and quicker every year and closer.
Bushwhacker at the weekend, and 2 men claimed their separate championships. Derek, you got the overall title, and Cian the 2-wheel drive. But Derek, you know, you said at the start of the year you were going to put a big push on for the forestry this year. Did you really? Was it a realistic dream that you would win it at the end of it?
Yeah, it was the goal. Like, so it was, if we can win it, we can win it. Like, you know, we're always pushing towards it, and yeah, to manage to get it across the line now was something special. Like, I just still can't believe it, really and truly. Like, but no, we knew probably coming out of the Lakelands that it was realistically ours to lose now. So it is, and pressure was on then during the week to make sure everyone's right, to get the finish was the biggest thing. Like, so now we're delighted now to get over the line.
Yeah, because like it turned out a wee bit like the Lakeland. You know, you had to concentrate on your rally. You couldn't get caught up in anything else that was going on around you.
Yeah, exactly. Like and straight from the get go, the worries. The same thing in the Lakelands had a terrible first stage, and the Bushwhacker went really wrong. And the next thing, a no power steering when I come out of it. This is not going to be civil now for two and a half stages. I done a half stage, 2 stages, no power steering. I said this is not easy, but we struggled on and managed to keep relatively a good enough speed and be safe. Like was the biggest thing is keeping hunting on the road and all. And we done that and got into service. But I was glad to see service. So I was,
You had to eat your spinach between the stages to keep the
um,
strength up.
yeah, but even bits of stages there. Like I was glad to see a straight. So I was like, and when you're in the middle of Carrick Holton, there's not too many straights. So there's not.
No.
No, we're happy now to get the end of it.
Yeah, and Shane, from your point of view, yourself in Denver, again, it was pretty much the keep your nose clean and get to the finish. Really, was it? Like,
Yeah, that's all we sort of had to do too. We started the championship this year saying we'll do one at a time. We are under the illusion it's not even one day at a time or one stage at a time, it's one corner at a time. We don't think too far ahead. Simply one corner at a time is what the way I can only compensate doing this whole rally. And it's just like one corner at a time, and when you get round it, you concentrate on the next one and usually sort of forget about the straights. One corner at a time, and then the championship worked out good this year. Actually, the old car has done well this year. I think we've done one unfinished and final time this year. So far, which has been good. Now, queuing up into the first stage of the Bushwhacker, it was looking very promising. Looking 2 cars to go, we pulled into gear, and next thing car stalled. I said, oh, gee, what's happened here? And clutch started messing about. So we pretty much had no clutch. So it was a case of get her onto the start line, 1 second to go, bang gear, and just light it up and away we went. We had to be very careful on chicanes and some of the chicanes was pretty tight in the Lakeland or in the Bushwhacker now. So we're having to be very careful on that.
mhm.
Which I was very surprised. I thought now we had left a heap of time in the first stage, but our time was thereabouts, which was very, very surprising because I was no more concentrating on notes or nothing. I was just because at high speeds and high revs there was a vibration then coming in and out of the car. But oh no, got back then to service and we were hemming and hawing at service what to do. We'd have never had it fixed in an hour.
Right.
Um, so we just decided, float it. We'll go. We've done 3 stages and we'll just chance our arm and see does it do 3 more. And thankfully it did.
Yeah, because it's kind of that kind of like it's a fine line between do you put the push on and try and fix it and maybe run out of time, or try and nurse it through to the finish. Then really is it?
Yeah, it was at that position, and in fairness, that car because she's built so tightly to the regulations, there's very little room to get the gearbox out. It's not an easy job even on the left of the garage, never mind on lying on the ground. So we just took the decision. No, pulling the gearbox out one thing, but then you have the whole bell housing and the clutch and all to come out separately. So it just wasn't going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and it was going to be too much of a push, and the car hot. It was never going to work, and we just said, listen, we just go with it. And because what would have happened too if we'd have seen something that we had in the parts to fix, you'd have ended up you wouldn't have built the car back up again. So that was our championship. Not over, but it would have made us having to go to Clare, which Denver's a wedding the day before Clare, and we were while busy with work. We could really have done without going to Clare. So we just took the decision, listen, when we just try and nurse her to the finish, and that's what we done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, but I suppose before we go any further, we have to pay tribute to Oma Motor Club. Like we keep hearing the Bushwhackers the same stages every year after year after. They made a really big effort this year to change things around a bit, and like they're and the limited confines they had, they give you a new challenge this year.
They definitely did. Now, Derek would be more man to know stages than me, and I've probably done them 40 times more than him. But I'm no good at remembering stages. But there were some nice new bits this year. Spiced it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the stages was fantastic.
I Derek, that just makes it a more even playing field for everybody. That yes, there's parts of it. Yes, knowledge comes into play, but a lot of it was new to like everybody.
Yeah, like there's most of it now, or bits of it. Even we've done them probably before, but we haven't done them from way back even before COVID. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a different ball game going into them again. So it is. So no, it was nice. Like, and it was nice to be able to see where we're all sitting at, like, in pace and sure. Look at the usual two guys was way out in their own league of their own. Like, so but it was. No, it was good now. It was very enjoyable rally, like so it wasn't fair play to the club. They put on some effort in to get the whole thing up and going, and like every stage ran on time. Just the last stage there was a wee delay for it, and like the day went faultlessly for them, like, and just have the credit to them, like.
Yeah, and like overall, the whole championship, the way that the championship has been promoted this year has been faultless. Every event has run so well, and it's a real credit to everybody involved there.
Yeah, it's a massive strong year in Irish Forest Rally, and like we've had some really good rallies over the years, and like you can't really pick a top notch rally like because they're all that close. Like there's three rallies in a row, and one beats the other by classness. Like it's just you can't really pick what's been the best rally and what's been the worst.
Yeah. I can see, and like not that long ago, like to yourself was having to go over to England or Wales to to get the good stages in inverted commas, but it shows now that we have as good as anywhere.
This year especially, we've had all really, really good rallies, as Derek said there. The championship's just been strong all year. There's been upwards of 100 entries every event, which is good, because we were afraid of it falling a bit when we lost the TV coverage. But no, thank God it's been holding out well, and the championship's did good well, and it's good to see the old hands back involved in running too. The good knowledge. It's nice to see knowledge.
And like the junior 1000's been a revelation. Like it started out I think 6-7 years ago now, and like it started out I think there's only 2 competitors or something, and now for the southern rounds there's like upwards of 20 plus entries, and like that is that what knowledge is them guys going to have by the time they're 17, 18?
Oh, that's brilliant. Sure, it's the same as Derek and them young lads. Was actually Ronnie was in earlier on. We were talking about the knowledge of Derek, what he has of the forest and stuff, and Derek's probably done more rallying by the time he was 20 than me and Ronnie done when we were 40. Because the young lads are starting now so early.
Yeah.
I didn't start rallying until I was 19. So we kiffled about and crashed and broke more stuff for the first 5 years or something horrendous. But them boys had all that out of their system, and what do you call that tomb where we used Derek?
Money
glass and Nachidoo
and proper driving wee stages and 12 years of age. It's great for the young lads.
Yeah, and Derek, not only have they got experience in Tar and the likes of Nachidoo, Ballykelly and these places, now they're on the gravel and competing on exactly the same stages as the main competitors. It's not Mickey Mouse events, this is proper rallies.
Yeah, like even just the knowledge of pace notes, like sure, like I don't know what anyone else does, but I have my own notes, like, and I can go back through every year and go, well, there's them stages and there's them stages and that's that, like, and yeah, be able to follow back the rallies, like where they're on and where they're going, and that there's a massive boost to all them guys, like, because they're able to, oh, with a moment in that corner or so and so was off in that one, like, and you kind of have stuff marked and you're building up a knowledge of what's going on, like. That's my own way of going about it, like, but the next to Shane here probably does a different story.
I don't remember one corner from the next.
And Denver's no better.
For me, because I have to put that much effort into the notes. I'm very bad at remembering stages. Funny enough, as Derek says, I would be reasonably good. I couldn't remember a stage, but I nearly remember where somebody was off. You would remember the odd bad place, but don't ask me where it is, what stage it's on. But when you come to it, you nearly know it on the notes. Oh, geez, there's where my notes were the Frank's corner and Andy's corner, and there's corners belong to everybody in the whole country.
Yeah. You have a few corners of your own too, I would say.
Yeah.
Don't forget me own.
Yeah. But Cian, like this man, claiming the championship, he has went about his rally and just the right way from the get go, as you say, coming up through like belt grind, cutting his teeth in them them events, then get into the forestry in the 1600, like a wee Nova, building his way up, Group N car, then into the R5. Like, and never mind what the father cut before him. Like it's just it's just ingrained into him. It's just a real rally family, and it's great to celebrate what they've achieved this weekend.
Fantastic to see it because as Derek, he's a good engineer and he's working on his own cars. He's working on other people's cars. You know what I mean? It's no disrespect to all the young lads. It's just the way the thing is. But Derek's learned from the ground up and worked at his own cars, and he knows the knowledge of what his car is capable of doing and not also what it's not capable of doing.
Mm.
And, the finance and what we need to do to keep the thing afloat, and, it's just not throwing all money at it. It's more as much knowledge as money sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not only, as you say, competing himself, but helping others to compete as well. And multi-discipline, like if he's not doing a night now, if he's doing a rally, if he's, there's always something that, there's, I would say, Derek, there's not a weekend that you're at home, is there?
No. I've been to every tarmac rally of the year, like, so I've nearly, like, and that's in spanners, like, so no, it's a busy, every year is very, very busy, and it just seems we get busier and busier, like, so it is. So no, it's the knowledge is everything, like, and in my book it's everything, like, you take in and do stuff, and you're all the time learning. Like, if you don't learn something at some rally, then something wrong, like.
Yeah. And that's bound to help you then. Whenever somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I'm not getting the feeling in the car. I'm getting this feeling." You're able to go, "Well, if you tried this, or if I done this to the car, this could help you with that, or whatever."
Yeah, like, and that's what we've kind of at, like, with the block of guys around that have been running that and doing work for them. Like, we've been doing wee tweaks and stuff, and they're saying, "Oh, this is not doing this, that, or the other," and we've been able to through what I kind of can see myself, what's going on, being able to, well, what would do this or what would do that, and just help them along. So it has a long way. So it is, so no, we're look at all the time learning and all the time moving forward.
And Shane, that's what it is about. Like, even yet, you're wanting to push yourself. You're wanting to, that was the whole idea behind the ladder. Yes, was to have a bit of fun, but also to, to keep you at the sharp end as well.
Yeah, well, as we all know about our ladder, just it was always a more personal bit of crack I built that for, but always the background was hoping it was going to be reliable. And then the Forestry Championship this year was the start of the year. I had it aimed in my head, at the back of my head. It'd be nice just to win it in this oddball yoke, and because it's been Ascot, bar maybe myself and Starlet here and again, and maybe Paul Mulcahy, them guys, and McCuddy and Starlet, but it's more or less the two guys dominated by Ascot's, like, so I just wanted to get it under my belt to put the lad on the map for the championship, So thankfully that worked out and that happened. So, so I'm happy now. We can rest now, happy.
But I would say there's no intentions of hanging up the boots just yet either.
Okay, it's getting harder. There is a lot of younger blood, and it's getting harder every event now, to be honest. There's more new blood coming on the scene, and
and
listen, I'm 50 years of age now, and the youth, you can't beat youth, like, and you can't beat people being hungry.
Yeah.
No matter what age you are, and sometimes the hunger's not there, not as much as it used to be.
And you can see now, like, a few years ago, the Rally 4, the R2 cars would have been, you wouldn't have been particularly looking at the stage times, maybe now and again, but now you have to be watching them boys' stage times, because they're having some battle amongst themselves, and that's bringing them ever closer to you guys' ends as well.
Oh yeah, the young boys, young McHugh and young Rahal there too, two very talented young guys, like.
Yeah.
They're really going well, and two nice lads too, it's good to see them young lads coming on, and that academy is very good now, isn't it?
It really
very lucky it has that.
Yeah, like, that is going to, like, it really is showing that, again, like, a bit like the stages, we're as good as anybody now.
Oh yeah, sure. Hey, you could nearly take any Irish driver and put him anywhere in the world, and he'll not be far away.
No.
The Irish talent's been very, very, very strong.
That's for sure.
And it's not just one or two or three or four or five. There's 100.
Aye.
Or more.
Aye, and like, those young guys are attending the academy. They're picking up tips. They're bringing them to, like, so, Oma or wherever, and they're telling somebody else who's telling somebody else, and that's rippling out, and everybody's getting the benefit of it as well.
Oh yeah, like, it's sure. So you talked about Derek and the Nova, like, there's Rory McGuire and Stuart McLean, two other fantastic talents too, and cars, really, they shouldn't be doing the same with Derek, punching in times and that wee Nova and stuff that they have no business doing, like.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Like, Derek, you were that soldier. You know how hard you used to push that Nova, like, and to see the guys coming behind that, it must be, like, you must actually nearly be envious at times as well.
No, them boys, like, they're like Ryan and Craig at the minute, like, they're in a league, like, it's class to see, like, they're pushing quite hard. And the bit I like about it is they're pushing hard on gravel and tar.
Yeah.
The two of them can go
Mhm.
to any surface and be on the pace, like, and that never happened till we're now with this academy and stuff moving forward. It's never been that way, like, so it isn't, and it's class to see, so it is. So, oh, it's them boys gonna be tough work in the future now. That's all I
That's
know.
for sure. That's for sure. And then you mentioned there Clare now coming up, brand new rally for everybody. Virgin territory, never been touched before. Like that's going to be there's nobody getting in there with any knowledge, or they'll not know where the cuts is, or they'll not know where the fine line is. It's going to be just really exciting from that point of view because nobody has any knowledge. That's what I'm getting at, I suppose.
Yeah, no one has a notion where where they are going to be, like, so it's yeah, it's going to be an exciting rally, I think, and it's going to be a big learning rally for everyone.
And
Well,
like
it's the one rally this year I'm actually disappointed to be missing because I like the new challenge.
yeah.
Always like the new challenge, and this one we can't just get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit annoying actually that the one that I really would like to do and have no pressure to go until it,
Mm-hmm.
but it just didn't fall into place, and unfortunately that's it. I would like to traipse to England and traipse to Scotland and Lithuania and everywhere to try new stages. And bloody one down the road and you can't get to it. It's not fair, like.
No, could they change the date for you? And having a world champion coming as well, like Peter Solberg, he'd coming in a bowler, but still, it's Peter Solberg and he's going to be in Clare too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'd be nice. Now it would be nice to get down to even just meet him and listen.
Yeah.
As I say, unfortunately, Denver can't go, and it's work's busy with us too. And last year when Denver had his accident, I was chopping changing navigators and had good navigators. But it's just so much nicer to have a man that knows your way of thinking, and Denver just doesn't matter what shape you come out of corners at. It's pull another one. Doesn't matter how hard you go over a jump, it's pull her on the places. Just get on well together, and it makes life so much easier. When you go into the first stage committed with your navigator, it's a big help now, isn't it, Derek?
Oh, massive help. It is. Yeah.
Navigator.
From your point of view too, like even to be competing on the same stages as Peter Solberg, Mr. Hollywood himself, like that must be a really pinch yourself moment too for you.
Yeah, like I was shocked when I seen it. Like I was like, "What's this all about?" Or where did this come about? Like and then I look at it. It's great for the club and it's great for publicity, like and everything. So, no, just look at where it'd be nice to see and nice to be able to promote what Irish rallying has to offer. Like, and because most people when they think of Irish rallying, it's always tarmac.
Yeah.
They always think the
Mm-hmm.
Donnyvalls and all the rest. Like, and just to show them that we have class for stages, like as well. So. Yeah,
But he wasn't an escort. I think it was an escort. I would have made it.
You would have made it somewhere.
Denver had to give up that wedding. No question. Just to see a bigger wiping would have got by Peter Solberg.
Yeah, I bet maybe if he comes and enjoy himself, he might come back in an escort next year.
Well, he might do, yeah.
BDA land into somewhere.
Yeah. And Derek, like from your point of view, Clare priority there again is to get him in his title as well to cap off a perfect year there.
Yeah, that's the goal. Like so, it is to really take all home. So it is Eamon unfortunately missed he had Bobby duties. He missed the Carrick-on-Truro Forest, so he did. So oh good. I says we'll definitely we'll go to the last round and see can we clinch him the championship. So that'll be with that one way we'll be looking at the championship, and the other way we'll be looking to see where the stages are, getting knowledge on them too. For you wouldn't know what will happen in the future.
That's for sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, tell me, Derek, have you the Northern Iron Forest Championship winding up too?
Yes, I think that's I think best 3 rounds. I think we've top points in 3 rounds without having to go to Dava. So do, but I'm in two minds whether I'll go to Dava or not.
Or Cam.
Or the dog league.
The dog league, that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, you'll have to go there. You've never done it before.
I've actually done them stages once or twice.
Oh, for the times the Glens of Antrim, was it?
The Glens there, I went around to the Glens.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I finished it. I think I was stuck somewhere in Cam, so it was...
Yeah, it's a tricky stage, Cam.
But,
Yeah.
but it's
I
probably
don't
one of the
mind.
best stages in the country, whenever you get a real good run at it, Shane.
It is. It's one of them. It's like the Lochbraden or the Ballintempo or the Springwell and all them. Cams on in that caliber too. No?
It's the one that, kind of, whenever you mention that name, rally driver eyes light up. They
Yeah,
know it's a real challenge, don't they?
yeah. I think it was the second year we done the Forest Championship. All we had to do was literally finish the Forest Champ. Finish that day. It didn't matter where we finished. We had won. Like, but of course, me and Frank Kelly was tussled in a battle, and in the last stage in the dark and calm, me and Jackie looked at each other and I said, "What about this championship we're going to? What about this? I'll let it go to hell." She said,
Okay.
it was more important to try and beat Frank than it was actually to lose the whole championship. And thank God we did beat him and wind up the championship, but it could have very much went the other way for us.
Is that the first day Lauren sat with him then as well, no?
I think it might have been.
It might have been.
I actually think it might have been, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then obviously, so the dog leaps in your radar then, Shane?
Yeah, I think it is because Denver's well up on the Navigators Championship or something in that, and then we didn't finish in final town, so we need a Midland score, I think, in it. So I've sort of made the decision to go to it.
Yes.
Listen, what happens, but Denver not get too annoyed either way. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. That's the way it is. It's the good thing about him, like.
Yeah, and I suppose we should, before we let you go, we have to mention yourself in Denver as well, the Highlands on tour. Like,
yeah,
just to go off, I suppose it'll be 2 weeks ago by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
And what I don't know, brainwave, brain fart, whatever you want to call it, but it really come together really well, and the support out there with the rallying community really come to the head, didn't it?
The rallying community has been really, really good, like really. But they do always come up trumps, don't they, and things like this, But no, the whole thing really started out. He was on about the tractor runs and stuff, and I said, "What are we doing something mad like riding mopeds or something from Mizzen to Malin or something silly like that?" I never thought any more of it at the time. Next thing he says, "Well, have you a bike bought?" And I said, "What?" She says, "We're going to 32 counties and moped. You're the one who decided it or made the decision on it." So I said, "No, it had to do with me." I thought you were doing it, not me. And then I bought a moped and more or less fell off it half a mile up the road and couldn't stay on it. I can't ride anything with 2 wheels. I just said, "No, I need a third wheel in this yoke." So moped got the chop. So, no, it was a good weekend.
What a couple of days you had. Like, that must be like to share that and do it with friends. Never mind, even for the charity. Even you just go and do that because it looked like to be mighty crack the whole time.
It was fierce crack. The problem is the wee bikes only held about 4 or 5 litres of fuel, and we were stopping every 100 kilometres to fuel the bloody things. And the problem was we're having that much crack every time we stopped. It took about 12 hours the first day to do it. If we would have quit faffing about every time we were that much pricking about when we were stopped. But it was good crack, it was fierce crack.
Aye, and not too many handlings either.
Not too many. One of the bikes broke down in Cookstown. He got about 20 mile and it broke down, and the typical sort of top gear stumped me and Denver left him on the side of the road and away we went. We went on, we were waiting for no man. He caught us up later on. So Peril Baskin was abandoned in the middle of Cookstown Main Street. We just went on. It was good crack.
Yeah.
Good, good bunch went with us, and Amy Coulter was with us, and by Jack Hood and Denver's woman Jolene. So the whole weekend was great crack with everybody.
Aye, and for a really worthwhile charity as well. Like mental health affects everybody, and it's good to be able to give something back as well, isn't it?
It's great to give something back. So unfortunately, it's affecting too many houses nowadays, isn't it? So
yeah.
So any little we can do, great.
That's for sure. And if anybody wants to contribute, the links and all still open.
I think the
go
links
on to
and all
Highlands
links
on
still
Twitter
on
there. So please, give what you can.
Yeah, I think it's the draw might be now shortly, so I suppose it'll be soon winded up. So sooner the better. Yes,
for sure. And Derek, like the outpouring of joy whenever you were crowned champion there on Saturday evening. Like I said earlier, you went about your rallying in the right way, and like it's a real family affair. Like you took great joy out of it. Like your mum and dad just must have been over the moon with that whole thing on Saturday evening then as well.
Yeah, they're delighted. Like so, they're really proud, and especially for dad. Like He won that championship back in 1990 and 91. It was over the season. You never thought it would be probably coming back home a couple of years ago, but now, now I've managed to get it home again. It's a very proud moment now, sitting in the middle of the table at home here.
Ronnie Coulter's another proud man. Ronnie's as good as proud as your proud, I would say.
Yeah.
Ronnie's been a sort of following Derek from no age and a good family friend, and stuff. So I think for Ronnie, it was nice to see us wind up the two-wheel drive and Derek winded up in the 1 year. It was just a bit of a special year for Ronnie too,
Cian, we spoke earlier in the year about how much we were looking forward to the Irish Forestry, and we're going in now to the penultimate round now in 2 weeks. But what a championship it has been so far. I'm saying it's probably exceeded even your own expectations.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Kev. It's been a sort of a mixed year with such a big long break in the summer, but now we have an insane glut of events between Cork, the Lakelands, Oma last weekend, and Clare in 2 weeks' time. So the busy end of the season, but yeah, incredible season in the woods. Last weekend we crowned our two-wheel drive champions for the year, Shane McGirr in Denver, and the big flying lad, the flying brick. They've been class this year. They were top two-wheel drive on every round bar Cork, which is telling enough. And even then it was, they lost out to guys that were real quick guys on that event as well. So it's been a faultless year for a car that's been a couple of years in development. And then I suppose the other story is the results on the Bushwhacker gave Derek Mackarel the 2024 driver's title. As we posted last night, it's the second time that the Doc Jackson Trophy goes to the Mackerel household. Derek's father, Andy, Andy and Derek, who have won everything in Irish motorsport. Yes. Andy was the very first winner of the championship back in 1992. So real fitting to see the title head back to Stonebridge and Monaghan, to probably the king of the underdog and a real good story for the championship.
Yeah, and the way that Derek, he has grown up through the championship. We think of the Nova and then into the Evo and now into the Fiesta. He, epitomises what Irish rallying's all about. The building the car out in the shed and gradually building up, and now all of a sudden he's the winner.
Yeah, and a huge supporter of grassroots motorsport as well. Like the amount of times that you'd meet Derek on the morning of the event and the eyes hanging out of him, and you go, in your head you must be thinking, has he been out last night? But in reality he has been out, because he's been doing a night nav at the other end of the country.
Yeah.
And the amount of times you'd hear stories of finishing a nav in Monaghan or Cavan and 2-3 o'clock in the morning, sleep in the van, coming to Cork or Killarney or wherever it was. But yeah, as you say, he started in 2014 in the Nova, 2019 himself, and Warren Hayes won the Class 16A junior title in the woods. And then it's progressed. As I said, the Evo came, Eamon Creedon joined him in the car in latter years, and the big push now, I think, in that camp is to get a good result in Clare to try and secure the Navigator's title for Eamon, which would be a really fitting result for the pair after a great year.
That's for sure. And as well as the overall, right throughout the whole field, there's been epic battles, and there's most of them's not even resolved yet. There's so much to be resolved in Clare.
Massive amount, yeah. Like, I think the only guy that we have so far that's actually claimed a driver's class trophy is James Dunphy. James rounded up class 4 with his result in Cork, or in the Lakelands, apologies.
Yeah.
So, like, it's mad for a 6-round championship. We go into round 6, and majority of the classes are still really, really on a knife edge. Like, I'm just looking down the list in front of me. Class 2, Craig Rahal, Tommy Moffat, Ryan McHugh, Cian Caldwell. They're all still in contention of winning. John Ward and Jack Harris. Jack had a fantastic result at the weekend in Oma, while John had an unfortunate retirement.
Mm-hmm.
That class is now wide open again. James has got class 4. But even as you continue on, the likes of like class 10, Mike Garrahy, the man who's done every rally in the country, it seems, in that lovely red Escort, he can still win class 10 with a start in Clare. Class 11F is that's just going to be epic. Like, Eugene Ward leads at the moment, but has no drop score yet. Ian McCarthy has won the 4 rounds that he's competed. Christy Butler, we're delighted to see Christy finish the event in Oma after a terrible year for Christy. Like he's still battling for third in the championship. You've Colin Nelligan, Kieran McCullough, all these guys. It's real tight. And looking there, class 12, Brian Little and Donald Connolly.
Yeah.
Nothing separates those guys most days out. Hal Lewis and Hugh McQuaid, like talk about opposite ends of the Mark II Escort spectrum there, but they're level on points. So Hal actually has the advantage of a point going to Clare. So again, there's so many things that can be thrown up that when we get into it, it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, and as you say, at every class, it's the strength and depth. We sometimes we focus a wee bit too much on the top 10 or whatever, but it doesn't take top 10 doesn't make a rally happen. It's every car from car 100 to car 100 or car 1 to car 100.
Yeah, and that's been the case this year as well because it's one of our strongest registrations we've had for a championship in years this year, and as well as that, we're seeing more and more competitors choosing to compete on the northern events. That traditionally would have been a case where a lot of competitors would have taken a drop. But now we're seeing I think we'd 40 registered crews in Oma, we'd similar numbers in Enniskillen for the Lakelands. And guys are seeing that these are incredible rallies and they're also opportunities to score points. And there's no better way to boost the championship campaign to score points when your nearest competitor is sitting at home. So a lot of guys have really capitalised on that, and they've set up proper jewels now in Scariff.
Oh yeah, and it's such a fantastic good news story. Like Clare hasn't run a gravel rally in 41 years. To see them back, and and it looks as if it's going to be an absolutely epic event down there too, because there's a 6 and a 7 kilometre stage, and then a 16 kilometre stage as well. That's really going to be something to get the teeth into there.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see clubs coming on board. As a Forest Championship, we're always looking for events to come on board and to see how possible it is to run. I know we have issues with getting terrain and getting access to forestries at times, and it can be problematic. But it's fantastic to see clubs now, especially with the rotation calendar, putting their hands up and saying, "No, we want to become a part of this championship." And Clare are an example of that. You've gone from a club that would have always been traditionally tarmac. They've seen that this is their year of no Clare stages. Let's give the forestry a go. And they've made a real strong effort at it so far. And we're really looking forward to getting down there. It's the stages, anybody you talk to, they're absolutely raving about these stages. We met Brian Patterson in Enniskillen, and some of the things that Brian Patterson said about these stages were almost beyond belief. He's telling us that these are potentially the best stages he's seen in the last 10 years in Irish forests. It's roads that haven't been touched by rally cars in 40 odd years, if even ever touched by rally cars. It's terrain new to everyone, and it's going to be a really good event.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be something very special, and like the team behind it, and I suppose we better mention the elephant in the room, a multi-discipline world champion coming as well. The world rally champion, world rallycross champion coming. It may not be part of the Irish Forestry Championship, but you're not going to refuse Peter Solberg's entry, are you?
Absolutely. There's a level of superstars in motorsport, and Peter is right up there amongst the elite level of global star. And I think, truth be told, the word filtered in advance. We were all sworn to secrecy on this story, but as soon as I heard it, I was dumbstruck, because this is a global superstar that, as you say, has crossed disciplines and won world championships in rallycross and in the incredible 03 World Championship. So, to see, when we go to world events, you go around the service park and you see the superstars around there. And if you see Peter Solberg, you go, that's class.
Yeah,
that he's going to be.
He's not called Hollywood for nothing. He brings that X factor.
Exactly,
he has that charisma.
The thought of seeing him in a service park in Scariff and in East Clare is just. It just doesn't seem to compute, but that's the magic of rallying and the forest. It just brings out these mad stories.
And for the fact that the Bowler championship sees merit in coming here and wanting to get involved and all too. That speaks volumes for obviously for the work you guys are putting in yourselves, that they see that this is a well run, professionally organised championship.
Yeah, it's something, and I suppose the door was opened fantastically by, I know, Denis Ferry, who was on the show already. He brought this to the attention of, through Andrew Mullen and Sligo Palace, to the attention of the championship, and it's something that we had looked at before and had made inquiries about inviting them to an event. And in fairness to Gerry O'Brien and Clare, they went ahead, formally invited these guys over, and the response from the Bowler Championship is remarkable. You know, we've 12 vehicles starting. You know, you've guys that are competing all around the world. Obviously you've world champions. You've Shane Lynch from Boyzone returning to Irish soil, I think for the first time since '99 in the CoC Championship. And like if he was dramatic back then, God, what it was going to be like in the forest. But no, it's fantastic, you know, to bring in a new set of competitors, same the way J1000 brought the championship to new competitors. We're always looking for new ways to allow people to enjoy the sport here in the country.
Yeah, because nobody can argue the J1000 has been a huge success story for the Irish Forestry. Yeah,
it's been the foresight of Ray Fitz setting that championship up all those years ago is incredible, and the legacy of that continues. That event by event, we are seeing brand new competitors coming out. We're seeing cars being built round the clock. I think I ran the numbers a couple of weeks ago, and on our first event, just Carrick on Shore in 2017, there was 2 competitors started in J1000. Jason Murphy went and won the first 2 championships when it was real infancy stuff, and the numbers are just remarkable. I think this year so far we've had 27 competitors take part, and as well as that, we've introduced a lot more stringent measures this year to make it an even more level playing field. All the cars were logged this year at the start of the year. We had a session in Mondello, and the Motorsport Ireland scrutineers have done savage work up and down the country, making sure that at least we're offering a fair level playing field for all these youngsters to compete on. And like the battles this year have been insane. We go to the final round now. We've Tommy Cronin leads from Oisin McShane. Oisin McShane made his debut this year and won 5 of the 6 stages on his first ever rally. You know, these are guys aren't coming into the J1000s now as complete novices. These guys are building up, and J1000 is becoming a target for guys, which is like when you see 14-year-olds that have been developing for years to get into the series, you're going, right, we're onto something proper here. These are people are taking this thing properly serious, and it's great to see.
Yeah, and then, with the MI Rally Academy, they can see there is a career path there for them almost. There is stepping stones, and we've seen there's nothing that's not achievable anymore.
Yeah, and I think like this year in particular, it shows there's so many routes forward in the sport. Whether it's the people like we saw this year, or last year's champion Tommy Moffat has jumped in a Rally 4 Fiesta and is flying. We saw a trio of competitors, Jack Harris, Jack Kennedy and Ciara Duggan. They went into Class 2A R2 cars, the older, more affordable cars, and they've been absolutely flying. But on the other hand, you see the likes of the story with Derek Mackarel winning the championship going, if you don't want to follow that homologation route, get into grassroots cars and build yourself up. There's so many opportunities, and it's great that we're giving these young drivers now a lot more exposure to loose surface competition, that when they go out to compete on levels beyond Ireland, they're a lot more familiar with a car moving around underneath them and actually competing on gravel, which I think for a long time we didn't have in some of the talent that we sent out, and it was a shame. But now we have guys that are competing on Irish Championship level for years, MIJRS, dual surface championships. The likes of Ryan McHugh, who got nominated for the Billy Coleman today. Like, he came into the championship last year having never set foot on gravel. No. And he is flying, absolutely flying this year.
It looks as if he was born for it, doesn't he? And that's not taking nothing away from the other guys, because Craig Rahal, Tommy Moffat you mentioned earlier, Cian Colwell, all those guys, it used to be that they met and nibbled at the lower reaches of the other two-wheel drive guys. Now the top two-wheel drive guys looking over the shoulder at these guys coming.
Yeah, like we've seen like Carrick-on-Shore last year, the top three two-wheel drives were all young guys under 25 in front-wheel drive cars. Craig Rattle was third two-wheel drive on the lake or on the Bushwhacker, which is, you think of how big a rally that is, and traditionally a speedy rally, and you go Shane McGirr, guy who's done ferocious amount of woods, Sam Stewart, who's an incredible talent, and then Craig Rattle in a front-wheel drive Fiesta in what's still his first 12 months in that car, and you go, that's incredible, the pace that these guys have, but also the amount of knowledge that they're gaining of loose surface rallying.
That's for sure. And then, you said before we started recording as well, how vital it is for, you as a championship to listen to the competitors, and you just have carried out a survey, and that shows that you just want to push on, you just want to develop, you're not content, just, you look around and think, oh, this is wonderful, this is great. You just always want to push and improve things.
Yeah, I suppose the big concern is always having a championship to provide to competitors, but also having the events to make a championship run. And there was, I suppose, concern within the committee this year when we looked at there didn't seem to be many clubs putting their hand up initially to say we want to take on a forest rally. But we held a meeting about 2 weeks ago and invited every club that has ever either run a forest rally or has ever shown an interest. Everyone was invited, and on the night we got a huge amount of clubs expressing interest in running events, and that was a fantastic thing for us as the championship. On the night, as you said, the voice of the competitor was heard. We put out a survey to all of our registered competitors in the weeks beforehand, and we had a huge response, and it gave us an idea of what competitors want from an event, but also what they want from us as a championship, what they want in terms of promotion, and where they see improvements that can be made. And huge actions are going to take place out of the feedback. I know we're going to introduce changes to the 2025 calendar. We're going to introduce changes to the structures, based on feedback that we've got ourselves internally. We've started to make changes based on feedback, and we're allowing the competitors, because without a competitor there isn't a Sligo Palace Forest Rally Championship. And at the end of the day, we want to give. We are a small minority of rallying. We're aware of that, but we want to make sure that we fight our corner and provide the best for the forestry family, as it's always been known.
Yeah, and the forestry family is the real term, because it is such a tight-knit community. We've seen it in Tarmac Rally. Yes, of course there is, but there's something more homely, there's more family orientated around the forestry as well too, isn't there? There really is no man left behind.
It's always been, it's so, as I say, it's homely. Like, you go into the woods the week, or into any service park, and it's the same friendly faces, and you see at the end of the stages, guys are over chatting away to each other, because it's guys that have been competing against each other all year, but at the same time you see guys that are having a tough time on a stage. Like the likes of poor Christy Butler has had an absolutely horrendous year this year, but we're all rooting for him every week, going, guys are running over with parts. We had I met a couple of guys running around the service park in Oma at the weekend, scrambling, looking for drive shafts and looking for parts, and their hands were coming back laden down with, oh, try this, try that. It seems very grounded in the and still a lot of guys can still run. You can run a forest car on a lot smaller budget. The wear and tear doesn't seem to be as strong as on tarmac, and guys compete across the year. The likes of the Wards, Eugene came into the championship last year in 11F. He got such a buzz from it that all of a sudden he brought his son John in. So the two of them are leading classes going into the final round. All these small little stories, and it is a lovely championship to be a part of, and we want to spread that to more corners of the country.
Yeah, and like I suppose, like it's maybe been maybe a thorn in the side, maybe the wrong term, but the fact that that some of the northern events then they were they were able to run with a bigger restrictor. From next year, that's gone. Everybody will have be parity of esteem there, and that's really going to that might encourage some of them guys then to come and think, oh, we'll go and try Cork, we'll go and we'll go to Clare or whatever as well, and that has to be positive right across the board.
See, I have to be truthful here now for a second, and I need to sort of really take off one hat and put on the other. As a spectator and someone out on the stage is watching the action, a big restrictor R5 is class.
Yeah.
The drivers love them. They're just the speed and the torque that you see cars coming out of corners, and it's probably where you should see the world level going to, but that's a different argument.
Yeah.
As I say, from a championship point of view, it can be frustrating. And like if anyone isn't aware, if you look at the results from Omagh or the Lakelands, any competitor that runs in Class 11 isn't eligible to score points in our championship. And there's a few competitors that you thought they were in contention for a championship had they decided to stick with the smaller restrictor. But at the end of the day, these guys want to win.
Yeah.
Like the Lakelands and the Wacker Reshape, they're the Northern Grand Prix, and guys want to win them, and that's fair enough. It will, we're hoping, attract more cars for next year, because like it's, as you say, like guys will come down with the likes of Jason Mitchell came down and won Cork, an incredible performance in Cork, but wouldn't commit to the championship because of the intention to run the big restrictor in the northern rounds. And as I say, forest rallies north and south are quite limited at the minute. The northern series is only 5 events. Our championship is 6. There's crossover between them, so in reality, there's I think 9 forest rallies in a year in the whole country. So if we can get guys have these cars that are in the spec, come out and have a bit of fun, and as you say, we're hoping, and that's the intention, and we know the dog leap's going to be the last hurrah. The cars are going to be wound up to the moon for that, and it'll be brilliant to see. But then it'll allow guys the likes of, like, that's not to say like guys can still compete against the big restrictors. Derek finished 3rd in the Lakelands. It's at the end of the day, rallying's rallying. You can have all the restrictor you want, and you end up in a ditch or blowing a drive shaft or whatever. It doesn't matter what turbo you've got.
No, and a lot of it still comes down to the 2 nuts behind, and the seats as well too. So
absolutely, yeah, and like it's just like I think the best one that summed it up was we had a competitor that started an event this year, his first ever event, and like real grassroots stuff. The guy came, he was a competitor in Mondello. And he came with a Fiesta on road springs, and he went into the woods, and I saw the car, and it was hopping everywhere. And I made a point of going over and chatting to him after, just making sure that he enjoyed it. And the guy was beaming, and he's like, it felt like I was having like a 16-kilometer accident, and it was just absolutely hot, like sawing at the car. But he came back and he's competed on a couple more rounds, and the likes of like John McDermott, last guy on the road on so many events this year, and he got his finish in the Lakelands. These guys are buzzing inside the little Lupo every day, like, and it's and they're having fun in the woods, and it's a more affordable and cheaper way to go rallying than serious tarmac at times.
That's for sure. And I suppose then, finally then, is like Sligo Pallets, like they have come on board now over the last couple of years, a fantastic sponsor, and wants to be involved, like getting involved with it. The Bowler Championship is just one small thing. They want to help this championship as much as they can as well.
Yeah, and Andrew Mullen from Sligo Pallets has been a revelation since he came in. He joined us as an associate sponsor in 22 when we didn't have a title sponsor for the championship coming back. And obviously we're delighted now that he's agreed. We announced a 2-year deal at the start of this year, and like every event, Andrew loves being there around the competitors. He gets on so well with so many of them, and they all know him. And he loves the buzz of being in and around the action, and the forestry is that homely feeling that he gets, similar to sponsoring the Border Championship, which he does as well. Now we're very appreciative of everything that he does for us, and his support allows us to push on and develop a better championship for the competitors.
Excellent. Well, Cian, we look forward to hearing about the initiatives in 2025, but before that, Clare is going to be something pretty special.
Yeah, and I suppose just like I'm taking off hats, I can take off hats on it. I have to mention, of course, the MIJRS battle, which also for some finishes in Clare, and for others it's their penultimate. So the MIJRS, for those that aren't aware, is the Motorsport Ireland, is our dual surface championship, exclusively for junior drivers, and really good championship. And it's this year we've had again the biggest amount of registrations in the series' history. We've launched a new website for the series, mijrs.ie, and the battle now is it's really tight. It's like everything. We go in Class 2A, which was introduced as a more budget-friendly class. That's wrapped up. Jack Harris won that in Clare, or in Cork, apologies. Really strong performance from him. Jack Kennedy wrapped up second by doing Galway, and Ciara Duggan grabs third there. But first, second, and third in that class get scholarship money from Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy, and the winner will get a Billy Coleman nomination, the winner of the classes. So it's a huge incentive for young drivers. In the J1000, they finished their season a couple of weeks after Clare with the Laois Rally Sprint.
Of course, yeah.
But even in there's only 4 guys left that can win that.
Mm-hmm.
You've David Travers, whose background is in circuit racing in Mondello. He's really come on this year. You've got Oisin McShane, the newcomer from Derry. He has just been remarkable. The pace he's got. But then as well, like you've got Tommy Cronin. Tommy is in his final year in the series, and Tommy has always been really competitive, good point scorer. And then the final, I'm trying to think who's the last guy. Danny Brady. My apologies to Danny. Danny won first day out in Killarney, and like he's still in the fight as well. So like that's a 4-way tussle. But then the headline figures will be the Class 2 battle. Craig Rahal, Tommy Moffat. 2 of those guys are vying for first and second. Tommy was tactical. Tommy went to Galway instead of Ceredigion and scored maximum points, and he is right there now with Craig. A strong finish for Craig, hands on the title. He's definitely got the point advantage, but again, anything can happen in rallying. And then Mossy Costello then is worth noting. A very strong result for Mossy could see him get into the prize points as well. So he'll be looking to try and overhaul Dylan Eves, whose season sort of finished early, unfortunately for Dylan, just with incidents with the car. But he's still holding on to third position in the championship.
So thanks very much to all those guys there, an absolute pleasure. And Patrick wanted me to mention as well too, with all his sponsors, just as soon as we finished recording and we finished the call, of course then it popped into his head then that you want to just thank all the sponsors. Like they've made the last few weeks just made the impossible possible over the last few weeks. So, and that's him probably by the time this comes out he'll be ready to get on the big bird back to Australia again. So best of luck in your travels there, Patrick, and see you next year. This weekend then coming up we have the Cork20 last round of the Tarmac Championship. You know, we've said out all year about the great year it's been, and this weekend, my goodness, Sunday is going to be intriguing. I don't know how we're going to get it all figured out come Sunday evening, but basically I think, Conor, the guts of it is Callum has to win to keep the championship alive.
Like, we're down to a cliffhanger. Like, you know, we every year we want, this is what we want. We wanted to go to the final round. We want, you know, the excitement, the buzz, the unknown, and we really have got it in spades this year.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. You know, the way I can see it, the way I read it is, if Callum wins, then either if Cronin finishes second, Cronin gets the championship on countback. But if Cronin finishes third or below, it's Callum's championship. If either Callum or Cronin don't won, I think then the rest of the guys kind of basically, you know, they really need them not to finish at all to collect no points for either Josh or Matt to have any chance of the championship. But there's just so many variables. It's just it's going to be a really difficult one to call. I can see this just going down to the very last stage.
Yeah, look, potentially it could do. And again, you know, it's a 1 day rally, so it's a complete sprint. And secondly, we're looking at a heck of a weather front coming in as well, which could turn Sunday on its head with regard to heavy rain.
Yeah, and like 8 stages separating them, you know, between who's going to be champion and who's going to go home disappointed. Like 8 stages, it doesn't sound a lot, but we've seen it in, you know, in the Ulster and the circuit this year. 1 day can throw up a lot of unknowns, and as you say, a sprint, you need everything just to be right on the day.
You do. Absolutely, you do. And, you know, Keith's rallying at home, but then, you know, Cork, typically nice, smooth stages, which might suit Callum in the Skoda. We saw how well he did in Donegal, particularly on the Saturday in the Skoda. You know, so we don't know whose hands is going to play to best.
No, that's it. And then, you know, you have Josh McGillian there and interlooping into the championship. Like I think that's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on. Like Matt Edwards is going to want to go out the year on a high. You know, Josh Moffat, if you know, this Skoda, or you know, or the Hyundai possibly, we don't know yet. You know, yeah, there's just I don't. And then Marion Evans is back in the Toyota as well too. You know, I just think there's always a twist in the tail, and I do think there will be a twist before this whole thing's decided on Sunday evening. Yeah,
look, there's too many variables, there's too many unknowns, and you know, the luck doesn't always go everybody's way, and you never know who's going to get caught out, or what misfortune, or look, a simplest mechanical failure, who knows? Which would be a shame, if that determines who wins the championship.
Because we want to see it done on the stages, you know. Like, it's been fantastic rallying all year. I spoke to Kevin O'Riordan, the CoC from the event, and that's what we were saying. Like, how fantastic it is to see so many of the top competitors still alive and going. You know, we're still pushing on in Cork. Like, there's most of the top 10 from Galway are still there in Cork. That's, you know, that hasn't happened in years. That all the rest of your guys are stuck with the championship.
Yeah, look, it's been brilliant for Cork this year. We've seen a really cracking entry, a really strong reserve list, which we probably haven't seen for the last few years in Cork. You know, it tends to be the last round of the championship, and you know, numbers kind of drop off towards the end. But this year, it's been great.
That's for sure. And then, you know, the two-wheel drive championship, you know, it can possibly go to a tiebreak as well too. So, you know, Frank Kelly and Damien Toner there, like, that's going to be another epic battle as well. Just how all that's going to play out as well too. And there's a few other class 14 guys in there that's going to be looking at it as well too, that they're wanting to be spreading the champagne on Sunday evening as well.
And look, you know, we can be guaranteed a strong fight. You know, neither Damien nor Frank will back off.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. And never mind then Rally 4, the juniors, every class as well too. And like, yes, Cork has great numbers this year, but they've got very strong quality as well too. So yeah, and like everybody raved about how good those stages were last year. I think that's going to be really interesting watching there on Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to keeping up to date with all the latest comings and goings.
That's it. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it myself. I genuinely can't wait. And it's just that anticipation of, we actually don't know who's going to win the championship. You know, it's just incredible.
That's for sure. Anyway, we'll catch up with Kevin O'Riordan and Clark of the course from the event. So Kevin O'Riordan, the CoC for the Cork20 this weekend. Yes, guys have pulled it out of the bag, and it looks as if it's going to be an absolutely cracking event this weekend.
Yeah, we have a fantastic event lined up, to be honest with you. We really put an effort into it this year. Look, I suppose we had a bad year last year for various reasons in the entry, and we really pulled out all the stops this year, and we got great feedback from all the competitors last year on the stages and the setup we had. So we just put our shoulders to the wheel and pushed it, and we've had the rewards, thankfully, in the entry. We've had I think not far off 200 entries in total before withdrawals. As of tonight, we still have a full 165 full entry, plus still a reserve list of 7 cars, with some big names on the reserve still. Like, we're still getting entries. We got an entry today, in fact. So as we stand here tonight, now 4 days out from rally, we still have 171 entries on the doors. So it's fantastic. It's great to see. We're delighted.
Yeah. Because like you say, you know, like you struggled a wee bit last year with entry and all that, but anybody that competed last year raved about it. You know, fantastic. You know, the service area, like, world class. The stages were as good as anywhere else in the country, and it's great to see that competitors have listened to other competitors and want to come this year and be involved in the event.
Yeah, absolutely. We put together the bones of a promo video last year. In fairness, Cillian Duffy gave us a hand with that, and we had the guys doing the live stream as well, and we put together this promo video, which was competitors talking honestly about the event, and I genuinely think it made a huge difference. That people said, "Hold on a minute," they said, "We must go down and try this thing out." Like, so, it's really worked, as you say. The competitors seem to love the stages here in these Cork. We've obviously stages all over the county, but we've ran here now with 4 years, and they seem to love the stages. You can't go past the service park. It's world class. Like, it's fantastic, and being able to base everything in the one location. Competitors love that. They'll come on Friday or Saturday, whatever it may be, park up their wagons, and they're there for the weekend. No moving, everything on site. Rally office, scrutiny, park firm, the lot. So we're very lucky. We're very lucky, and in fairness to the Cork Marts, they are brilliant to deal with. Like, and you want their own.
Because that's what it takes. Is yes, the competitors and all that, but if you have good people there helping you pull together the event, to make that service area happen, to make everything flow, it makes everything just so much easier. We heard about like Wexford last week, the way that the event, everything ran just like clockwork, and that's not for one person done that. That's a whole
no.
to make that happen. Isn't
it? You have to have the team around you to do it. Like, and the Cork Mars people are in part of that. Like, I mean, anything we suggest, tweaking things this way, that way, it's no problem. Like, and it's very easy access in. We don't have any traffic problems because we're just off the main road and the motorways beside it. So it's ideal, really, and it gives competitors a lot of flexibility then where they want to stay. They don't have to stay necessarily in a rally HQ or whatever. Just it's fantastic. Like, it's great.
Yeah, and then as you say, they can come down then Friday evening, Saturday morning, park up their wagon. The stages, they're reggae. Like, it'll be quite a simple reggae because it's such a real compact tight loop as well.
Yeah, it is a very, like, we've 8 stages. We would have had 3x3 and 9 stages, but because we're running a national permit now, there's a max mileage limit on the stages. I could actually make more mileage out of the stage, but look, that's the rule, and that's fine. So there's 110 kilometers of stages over the 8 stages, but there's only 126 road kilometers in the whole rally. In fact, I met a competitor this morning who had to do alternative recce because he's a work commitment on Saturday, and I met him at 8:45, close to the service park, and he texted me at 2:00. He was on his way back up the road after doing his recce. So that's what people want to know. Like, he said to me, he'll come down now Saturday morning, he'll bring the car down, he'll probably do whatever he needs to do, documentation via scrutiny, do the rally, and he'll be home having his tea Sunday evening.
Yeah, and like that, that is just ideal for, like, people can't afford now to be taking time off work, or, especially now with service groups and everything. There's a lot of money involved, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he actually made that point. Actually, he said he prefers one day's rally because it suits his work. And it's, because you can come down, like, even the guys from up north or from the UK, they'll come over Friday evening. A lot of them are going back into Ferry at 8:30 Sunday night. They're back at work Monday morning. So the compactness is very, very, it's great. Like, and even for spectators, like, there's won't be no mad tearing around the country. Like, there's good access to the stages, and they're lovely stages, actually, to be honest with you. They're fast and flowing, and there's technical bits as well, obviously, like, but the competitors seem to love them. We got great feedback last year, so we had a toss up whether to use the Saturday stages or the Sunday stages, and we said, the Sunday stages got good feedback last year as well, and it was a tighter loop, and we said everything's about making it competitor friendly. At the end of the day, it's to make it easier for the competitor, and that's what we're about. Like, so we're delighted, we're thrilled with the entry now, to be honest with you, and the support we've got from competitors, to be honest with you.
Because, like, we said earlier, like, it's, competitors, word of mouth. Like, you can 100%. Spend all the money in PR and everything else, but word of mouth is invaluable. And whenever competitors is going away from your event, telling everybody, you have to go there next year. This was a cracking event. We were mid-welcome. That's what brings people here the following year.
Absolutely. Look, tis a sport, and we're all friends in the sport, and it's all about treating people well and everything, and the feedback. And they do. I mean, there was 2 competitors said to me now, to be top competitors, that they're coming because of the feedback they heard from competitors last year. And, like, that's great. We're delighted to hear that, because at least it means competitors who did the event last year went away happy.
Yes.
And did a great event. Like, so I know we're delighted now. We just have to hope the weather is nice to us now, and everyone turns out in the day and does their job. So, which I'm sure they will. All the stages are full of marshals already, so we're getting great support everywhere. Like, it's fantastic.
Because, like, that is, like, the marshals, they are the lifeblood of the sport, and unfortunately, it's the same faces we see over and over again. But they continue to turn out week after week, weekend after weekend.
Sure. Look, I know we always bang on about saying, the marshals are the backbone. They are. You can't run the rally without them. Like, I mean, they'll stand, whether it is sunny on Sunday morning or whether it is pouring rain, they'll still stand out there, and they'll be out there for probably 8 hours. Like, and it's that commitment. Like, I don't know if there are many sports you get that commitment in, to be honest with you, from across the board. You know, it's great.
And like that is changing. There's a lot more young blood becoming and getting involved now in the sport as well. We can always do with more, absolutely, but it's nice to see there's younger people getting involved now as well too.
Oh, absolutely. There's enough of us growing grey, like, so we need to be we need the young people in the sport, and there is, like, I mean, there's good initiatives there now to bring on young marshals and that, like, so it is great to see. Not as I said, the chief marshal has done a good job there now. We've all the stages full for marshals. Fingers crossed they all turn out, and they won't complain. They'll be out for 8 hours, and timekeepers and even the officials going around in cars. Some people sometimes say, "Oh, sure, you're inside the car, you're having an easy run of it." I can tell you one thing: no one out in those stages has an easy run of it. Like, and like the main thing is that everything runs smoothly, so that the competitors get value for money. They get a good day's fun and a good safe day's rallying. That's what it's all about. Like,
that's exactly, yeah. And like, some people say, oh, like, as a one-day rally, as a really an international rally. But we've seen the one-day events this year, the Circuit of Ireland and the Ulster. They bring a whole new challenge. Like, it's, you can't slip at all. Nearly a missed gear change could decide.
Yeah, and particularly this year, I mean, it's the max mileage we can get out of it under the regulations, but it's going to be hot from the board go, because we have championships up for grabs. I mean, potentially we could have a situation where the main tarmac championship ends on a tie break. Similarly, the modified championship could end on a tie break. So, like, after years rallying to come down to the last event, and you could end up in the same points. So those guys are going to be going. They'll have to go flat out from the start. Like, that's what it's all about. And we obviously have some bigger names coming in there now as well, with Josh McGirr announced there recently. Like, so that's going to add another spectacle to it. Like, but I mean, as you said, all the top protagonists across the field, not just in the R5 Rally 2 categories, the modifieds. There's going to be some entertainment out there. Like.
Yeah, because yes, you have quantity, but the quality, everybody has stuck really well with the championship this year. Like, there's 2 or 3 guys in the hunt for the overall title, but nearly everybody that started Galway is going to be there in Cork. And that's a real testament to Cork and the whole championship as a whole as well.
Yeah, I think the championship is just going from strength to strength. To be honest with you, there's a great background team there. I'm involved in the championship as well. Like, and there's a great background team, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. Like, and it's going to continue to grow. And to see that a lot of the championships come down to the last round, that's a testament to how competitive the championship is. That's one person. I know at the start of the year, it looked like Keith was going to have a bit of a runaway, and then things faltered, and Callum picked it up. And similarly with the modifieds, like, yeah, it's great. I'd love to be out there spectating myself, to be honest with you. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, as you say, the modified, the Rally 4 title is decided, but there's a 14 Rally 4 guys starting at the weekend, and like those guys there, the times that some of them guys are setting is just
phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like, even one of our own club members there now, his son is in a Rally 4 car, like, and there's a lot of anticipation as to how he gets on against the other guys, like, so, and the stages will suit them, like, because they're nice flowing stages. They'll surprise a few people.
Yeah, because when you look right from the top, like what the Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy is doing, and right down through, even to the Junior 1000s in the forests, like Irish rallying, we're in such a golden era of young competitors getting involved, and like that's only going to take the sport to a whole other level in the next few years.
It is, absolutely. I think the sport, like, it's going in a great place. Like, even there's other people there now coming up through the ranks, like James Ford there is showing great pace lately in the Citroen. Declan Boyle obviously seems to be back on the pace with the new car, and then you've the young guys coming up behind him. Like, it's great. Rallying is in a really strong place in this country. Really strong place.
Yeah, and under the stewardship of Motorsport Ireland, there's probably a different conversation for a different time. But the way they've restructured the whole national championship, it's really working. The way the tarmac championship is working, everything just seems to be really positive at the moment.
Yeah, there's room for all the championships. Like, and as you say, the tarmac is going very well. The national is going very well. You'll see there at the end of the year, the historic rally will have a bumper entry again. Like rallying across the spectrum is just on a high at the moment, and I think the youngsters are really showing their prowess with these Rally 4 cars. To be honest with you, like they're the next R5 drivers. Let's be honest.
And you know, they can go anywhere in the world, and they have no fear of anybody. Like this is we're as good as anybody and better a lot of the time.
Absolutely, and it's going to be very interesting now to see how come back to the R5s, how Josh McGirr will fare up and how the lads will fare up against him. Like so, it's going to be very interesting. I'd imagine we'll have good spectator numbers out on the ditches, I'd say.
Yeah, and obviously for those spectators, very important. Listen to what the marshals and the officials tell you to do. They're there for your safety.
Like these events, unfortunately, as I know, these take months and months and months of planning, multiple safety inspections, multiple discussions with the Gardaí, we have a great relationship with the council, and back and forth with safety plans. And in fairness to the marshals, they have to implement that on the day on the ground. They're the COCs on the ground, really. And I just would plead to all spectators, obey the marshals, because it's got so serious now, the safety in the sport, and we've such a good reputation in Ireland for safety that we can't take any risk. There's just zero tolerance. So to enjoy it for everyone, obey the marshals, stand where you're told to stand. And in general, I think the spectators in this country are very, very obedient and very well mannered. So we'll pray for good safe days rally, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, that everyone has an enjoyable day and gets home safely. That's what it's all about.
And then I suppose the final word, rallying doesn't happen without sponsors, and you're very lucky there as well too.
Absolutely. Like we have the O'Connell Group as our headline sponsor. Is it for this the 4th year in a row now we have them, and they're actually both club members of our club, the O'Connells, and they both competitors themselves, Eamon and Paul. And like as you say, we cannot survive without the likes of sponsors. We then have Neil Phelan of A Science, who's been with us for probably longer than he cares to remember, to be honest with you. He's in the background all the time sponsoring us. Cork County Council are on board with us this year, giving us some support. And then we have all this, we put a lot of effort in this year to stage sponsorship and program advertisers, and like there's a lot of money comes in to prop up the rally with these people. And what I would urge people in whatever way they can to support those people in their businesses, because obviously we need the entry fees, but that money is the key to making the rally happen. And I think they get good exposure for it as well.
Yeah, it may just be going in and getting your diesel or going into a cafe or whatever. But even just say, "Oh, I've seen your advert in the program. I thought I'd come in and support you." We things like that just makes a huge difference.
I made a statement there at a meeting lately where we were talking about pushing for sponsorship and stage sponsors and program advertisers. And about 19 years ago, I saw an advert in the Cork20 program for a local oil company, and I went, he supported rally. I'll buy my oil off him. I'm buying my oil off him ever since.
So it was money well spent.
He got well paid for his advert. I can tell you that. But that's the way you pay back the sponsors, and I even reminded him of it lately. Like that's how you got my business.
Yeah.
And it's important that when we see an ad in the program for whatever the business be, try and support them in whatever way you can, because that's what's keeping rallying going at the end of the day as well. So
because
we're very lucky.
Of the time they are rally people that's involved in them businesses as well.
As I say, we kind of have 3 main sponsors. The O'Connell Group, our 2 competitors, club members. Neil Phelan, competitor, club member, and a director. So it is great to see the people within the clubs putting their money back into the sport as well. So we're very lucky. We're very lucky with who we have sponsoring the event. So sure. Long may it last, hopefully.
Yes. Well, Kevin, best of luck, and hopefully the weather's kind to you next Sunday.
Yeah, and thank you. And then just thanks. Just wanted to one last thanks as well to the residents on the stages. In fairness, they put up with a lot of, I suppose, being blocked in on the day as well. And thanks to yourself, Kevin, for the great job you're doing on the podcast. I look forward to them every week or whatever. So great job.
Huge thanks to Kevin. I really appreciate Kevin taking the time to chat to us there about the Cork, and we wish everybody a safe event. And really, as I said before, can't wait for this battle.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So everyone have a safe and enjoyable weekend. We're looking forward to catching up with all the latest coming and going of it next week. And then in 2 weeks' time, or less than 2 weeks' time at this stage, Clare Forestry Rally is making a return. It's 42 years, I think, since it last time it run. And the news broke last weekend. Peter Solberg's coming in a bowler. That's, what can we say? That's going to be, we talk about putting the spotlight in Irish Rally and putting the spotlight in Irish Forestry Rally too, which is pretty special, isn't it?
Look, two surprises there. One, Petter Solberg, and secondly, that he's in a lot, the Land Rover Bowler. Like, it's just incredible. Not, we wouldn't have put the two of them together.
No, yeah, it's completely left field, and like, I just love things like that there. The news broke on Saturday and everybody going, what date's this? Is this an April Fool? But no. And like that championship, the Bowler Championship, it's really piqued the interest now, and this is definitely going to get a lot more eyeballs on it now, and like that has to be positive for Irish Forestry Rally, and all those eyeballs is going to be looking at Petter Solberg. We'll be seeing what's going on here.
That's it, exactly. It's a chance for us to showcase what we have, both in quality of stages as well as the quality of the field. And again, something, more interesting to add into the mix of everything. Could we have a little bowler championship here in Ireland? It would be fantastic if we did. Yeah,
you just never know what could come out of it. Yeah, that is for sure. And we keep saying as well, one of the success stories of the Irish Forestry over the last few years is the Junior 1000. And I think there's over 20 entered there so far for it as well too. Like it started out 7 years ago, 2 entries and suddenly and this is like there's events couldn't run without the juniors now, and that's just fantastic to see.
It is, and that's our talent. That's our next batch of talent coming through, and it's so exciting to see. It genuinely is, and the support and encouragement they're getting, and the parents are getting behind the kids, to take part. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that the MI Rally Academy, has kept a watching brief over it as well too. It just shows these young guys and girls coming up that anything's possible. You could end up being the next Josh McLean, Wal Crichton, Eamon Kelly, or whatever. The sky's the limit.
That's it. When they look at the Billy Coleman nominees every year, they're within touching distance, of where these guys started out. Most of them all came through the junior ranks in some shape or form.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So I thought whenever we heard about this news, I thought two better people we couldn't speak to was Gerry O'Brien is the COC from the Clare Forestry, and then Denis Ferry from Donegal, who's taking part in the Bowler Championship this year. So let's hear from them. So Clare Forestry Rally returning in less than 2 weeks. It's going to be something else. What can we say, Gerry? You've once again, this Clare Motor Club has pulled out all the stops to pull together a fantastic event.
Yeah, look, it's 12 months since we had a rally, and I suppose the last rally we had wasn't the rally we wanted. Unfortunately, 12 months yesterday since we lost Damien Fleming at the Clare stages, and it does leave a freak accident, nothing we could do about it. But he does leave a mark every person it does, and one of those things we don't want to relive again. The hunger was in me to come back and try and run another rally, and I knew from the knowledge of the county that there was lots of forestry in East Clare, from Scariff down into Broadford in South East Clare, back up towards Derry Bryan and the Galway-Clare border, and over towards Woodford and Portumna. And I said, there has to be stages in here. And I met two guys from Quilcha, and I explained, they told me all about roads. Well, a lot of the roads were telling me were going in 6 or 7 kilometres, but not coming out. So I had to sit down and explain to them, I needed to win one barrier and come out at another barrier. And we spent probably 10 days driving stages that I did not know existed. Never knew they were there. So we found 3 stages. We found 4 or 5 stages really, and we ended up settling on 3. And then we had to go and get a service area in Scariff, and where to the town that was going to be based. And not knowing the ins and outs of Scariff, I knew there was an old chipboard factory back there years ago. Has been closed for years. Was a massive employee of the company in the area, and a local person said, "Geez, there's a massive yard in the back of that. Won't you go in and look at it?" So I went in and looked at it anyway. 8 acres of concrete.
Brilliant.
With nothing inside it. Yes, service.
Gerry was rubbing his hands, yeah.
Sorry?
Gerry was rubbing his hands then.
I was rubbing my hands, and our Moorsport Ireland safety officer came down to inspect it. I'm jumping a bit now here. Our Moorsport Ireland safety officer came down to inspect the stages and to inspect the service area and all the bits and pieces that had to be inspected as part of setting up the event. And we drove into the service area, and he said, "Jesus, Gerry, you could run a rally sprint here." So that's the way. So we have that got for service area. It's a cracking area. Scariff GA Club then came on board, and they have an absolutely state-of-the-art clubhouse and offices, and they have given us that called our Rally HQ. And the rugby club came on board in to give us their area, and it's fully floodlit for scrutiny. So everything has just fallen into place. Scariff is a small town, probably 1,500 people living in the vicinity of Scariff. And Vince and Eli Distribution, who own the old chipboard factory, they're on the Innes Road out of Scariff, and the other two premises, the rugby club and the GA club, are on the Gort Road, the old Gort Road out of Scariff. I suppose would be the best way of describing it. And Scariff is a kind of a small town, but he's bringing all the cars up through town Friday evening to go to scrutiny and back down to Park Fermanagh again. And he's bringing the rally really into town, so it is.
Yeah, and
it's going to be a massive atmosphere, I think.
Yeah, because like the way the whole community is embracing it, like, you know, like the rugby club, the GAA club, you know, and you've talked about local people suggesting places to, you know, to come along and get involved. That just shows you that this is going to be very welcome in the town as well.
It is huge. Like, we had one club meeting. We wouldn't have a big club membership from Scariff, you know, and that particular area, because it's years and years since we went out there with stages. And I suppose motorsport, not like down here, not like Donegal, where motorsport is probably number one sport in Donegal, but like hurling is number one in Clare, and you know, motorsport is a little bit down the pecking order. And our club members are sporadic; they're in bunches in different areas around the county. They're not from every parish, and we don't have club members in Scariff, which we will have after this. You know. There are people out there that didn't even know there was a motor club in Clare, you know, because, and again, we didn't go back that direction for tarmac stages because we didn't have a service area that we knew of. Yes. Now we have, and it has just opened up a whole new part of the county and the countryside for stages, so it has.
Excellent.
But we had a club meeting, we called a club meeting one night, and we said we go to Scariff with the meeting. And we sent it out to probably 12 or 14 local GA clubs and soccer clubs and rugby clubs and that kind of thing to attend it. We had 72 people at the meeting. And there was half of them were locals. They had never been at a motor club meeting before. And like, it was absolutely a fantastic atmosphere, you know, and everybody's asking questions. I'm working in a garage in Innes, and like, I'm meeting people from back that side of the country, 70 years of age, and they're talking about the rally when they come in. It's fantastic. You know,
absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, do you need a yard to park anything? You know, this is the reaction we're getting. Like, it's fantastic, unbelievable.
Yeah, and Denis, like, you know, doesn't that just what rallying's all about? Just the community pulling together, the community wanting this to happen.
Of course, you know, from Donegal, you know yourself, Kevin, up here, it's just it's a festival.
Yeah,
and he's obviously done the same. Gerry's obviously same down there, and you get the same amount of people behind it. And it takes all the people, it takes the locals, so it does, to make it right. And it takes participation of the locals to get involved and offer services and help and stuff like that. So you were saying down up here is all kind of rallying as number one. I suppose we were blessed up here with two gods, with Eamon McGee and Jim McGinnis up here. So right down there. But no, rally is a massive part up here, of life up here. You know, and the harvest is on now in 2 weeks' time, and that's I think as today. I think they have 190 entries.
Yeah,
which is an amazed amount of entries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. And like, you know, you've went down a different route this year with your rally, and the last couple of years now at this stage, you've went down the route of the bowlers, and like, what a fantastic championship that has proven to be.
I suppose like a lot of people went over to the motor show religiously every year, and in 23 I'd heard of Bowler, and they had a challenge in 2014. It just wasn't right for me that time to try and do it. And the new car, the new Defender, was launched, and Bowler had built the car with JLR, who took over Bowler in 2019. And I spent a couple of hours at the car, and I went over to Walters Arena in the March, had a test drive in the car, and I kind of pulled the trigger on it in the June, July time. Got the car, and I'd done one event over the Nicky Grist event, for just a kind of in preparation for this year. It went grand. It's total different discipline though. So the championship is 7 different rallies. Well, I say rallies, there's 3 disciplines within that. You've got rally raid, you've got hill rally, and you've got stage rally, or forestry rally as we know it. So we're just back from Yorkshire. That was a hill rally. It was a 3-day event, just outside York. And it was just as it says, hill rally. So you're in fields, you're in hills, you're in old bog roads and stuff like that. So it's a total different discipline. And the car is 2.5 ton. It's 2 foot off the ground. So yeah, again, it's a total different experience. And going down and back in Knockallen, 6th gear in a Subaru is great, but also going over the bog in a Defender, 2.5 ton. And you have to be. It's endurance as well. You can't break the car. You know, on tire, it's usually you break the car going over the odd jump or whatever, or going off the road or sliding wide. There, the road you're on can break the car. Right. So, I say that the Clare stage, as I spoke last year, I met with Andrew Mullen, who's a massive sponsor of all rallying in Ireland. And Andrew had said to me, "Look, would you bring the car down to the 5 mile town to take one of the officials round, just not in a competitive form, just to get the car out there?" And we spoke after it and said, "Look, it'd be great to get it to Bowler to come here in 24 and do one of the rounds." And the notion was set then, and a few bits of phone calls and stuff. And Art McCarry get involved, and then Gerry, and it turned out that we're doing the Clare stages, which is rally number 6 out of 7. And it's just worked out great. It's great to be like there's 11 people registered for the championship. So there's 2 different championships in Bowler. You have the UK and Irish series, which is based in Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, and then you have a European one. And there's 8 fellas doing it, and that's based in Africa, Iceland, Spain, and France. They're actually racing today a 5-day rally in Morocco. There's 5 of them out doing it. My navigator's from Ballymena, and he's sitting a fella, and he's actually going through the dunes in Morocco at the minute as we were speaking on night stages. Yeah.
And like, what was the reception whenever you floated the idea of bringing the championship over to Ireland?
Logistically, when we all service together, so everybody's got a tent. A lorry comes with 2 containers, the drop-off containers, and that has every part that we need. And that's the beauty of a one-make series. Everything we need is in that truck. So it's a bit of a circus when it comes to town. Every car has his own tent to bring the food lorry. So we're totally self-sufficient. And
the food is nice. Food is nice. We ate plenty of it last week.
So I suppose the beauty of it is everybody's together. We service together. We eat together. It's just a great feeling, and it's a great kind of sense of involvement. And Gerry made the big trip over last weekend or 2 weeks ago to Yorkshire along with Margaret, and like for Gerry to do that, to see how it runs, so that he can provide the right place and service and stuff like that's amazing. It shows the kind of work that Gerry's doing, and it's just things like this doesn't happen just by a few boys getting together. Else you might run a few stages. Yeah. There's hours and hours and days of hidden work the competitors don't see, and the competitors have a lot of work to do themselves. But I say when Gerry and Margaret came to Yorkshire to see the circus as it was, took back their ideas, so that just to make the whole thing run a lot smoother, shows the commitment of Clare Motor Club to the Bowler Series.
Because like Gerry, like this isn't, you're delighted to get another 11 entries. Nobody's going to refuse it, but it's the time and the commitment and making sure that you're giving those guys a challenge as well.
Yes, and look at for ourselves. Like when we started talking about this Forestry Rally within the club, and there was a little bit of hesitancy, by some, because we had no experience whatsoever. Now, I would have acted as steward, Morsworth Allen steward and club steward at 1 or 2 events, and I did Morsworth Allen steward at a couple of events last year, especially rally strengths. And the club had a good history of organising autocrosses. We had that track, if you go back a few years ago, up in Ballycumber in Offaly, and we used to have huge entries from all over the country at that event. There was there was an appetite. We got the majority of the club had an appetite, and we said, right, let's go and we'll do this and we'll see what's out there. So I spent probably a month, and we saw the stages, and we ended up picking 3 stages. Like, we have a 7-kilometer stage, we have a 9-kilometer stage, and we have a 17-kilometer stage.
Yeah. So that's going to be a real challenge for everybody involved.
Real challenge, yeah. And like, then we had to compile the safety plan, and I suppose I had a good few guys with me that would be good at doing safety plans, and I suppose when I would be acting as a most battalion official at events up and down and around the country, I would be self-praise and no praise. We'd be fairly match fit in compiling a safety plan. We had a fair idea of what we were at, and we did the safety plan. We got the safety inspection done, and we had, everybody just rode in behind it, and it's here now, and it isn't.
And Denis,
and back out now.
Denis, it's fantastic to get the bowler team over, but not only that, they're bringing the world champion with them as well, and multidiscipline world champion as well.
Yeah, broke the past weekend there. There's out of the 12 cars that's coming, there's 8 doing the 7 doing the UK Championship out of it. There's 3 boys who does a European Championship, and then Peter Solberg now is coming along with Castrol, which is amazing. Like, a few years ago, you would never think that you'd be starting the same kind of car and the same class as Peter Solberg. I mean, it's just, for the rally, it shows the commitment of everybody, and to bring a world champion from Rallycross and rallying to the stages is unreal. Now he's going to. We were kind of scared. I was telling the boys in England about the J1000s, and don't be embarrassed if Oisin McShane beats you. now double worries. I think it'll be great to see how fast the Land Rovers can go. And like, Mark Higgins done it 2 years ago. I wasn't there, but Mark took a car 2 years ago, and he drove very fast. I'm sure Solberg will just absolutely annihilate it. So it's amazing to think that he's coming to Ireland, he's coming to Clare, he's coming to participate. So it is. And all the cars are identical. So, like, you can't even use the excuse that this is down to skill and a wee bit of luck. But usually the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Well, that's the one.
Yeah.
But Gerry, like, what a fantastic thing for the motor club to have a name like Peter Solberg and, attached to your event. Like, that just lifts it to never mind another level. It lifts it another 3 or 4 levels.
It is, yeah. Come here, we would never in our wildest dreams have thought, if someone said that we would have a former World Rally champion coming to Clare to do the Clare Stages Rally. Like, we have had big entries down through the years. I remember when we used to be running a couple of weeks before the Ulster and also around the European Championship, and we had the likes of Abdullah Bekashab and people like that coming over to Clare to use it as a shakedown for Ulster, and we used to get guys from Scotland down to do as a shakedown before Mull and things like that. We were always good to get a high profile entry, but like, we never ever got thought, nobody in the club, nobody in the county even thought that we would see the day that we would actually bring a World Rally champion to the parish, as the thing was.
Yes, I had not even to do a tarmac rally, to do a forestry rally.
To do a forestry rally. Oh yeah.
But isn't it great how throughout the years Irish rallying is very famous for its tarmac stages and Irish Tarmac Championship, and you've got all the different events that all different competitors from out the world come to compete on. And I suppose I'm speaking Basley from Donegal, all the previous champions coming to try and win it, Loeb and all that. But it's amazing how Irish Forestry has come on this last year or two.
Oh, yeah.
And like, for this to happen to Irish Forestry is amazing. But it's a lovely reward for all the effort that people have put in and stuck with forestry, and for the sponsors from Sligo Pallets to yourself, Gerry. It's a great reward for you.
It is, yeah. It is. I mean, look, when I was asked, I suppose, last January or February, I suppose, when the calendar was put into place and when Dave Marsh contacted John Quill from the Irish Forestry Rally Championship Commission looking for a list of dates, and John Quill forwarded on the dates, and he came back in. Dave came back into John and said, "Look what he says. That Clare Rally would suit if it suited ye, as in Motorsport Ireland and Clare Motor Club." And like John kind of was explaining, "Geez, this club haven't ran a Forestry Rally in 42 years, and I don't know what kind of a show they're going to put on." So, but he says there's a good team there. He says so. He rang me about it, and I said, as again, like last weekend when we were in Yorkshire, say nothing. Right. So this conversation happened, and I said, "Look, I have no problem. I have no problem with it." He says, "If most would have no problem with it." So we kind of agreed at the end that would happen, and obviously you had to go through the channels in Motorsport Ireland and the championship and beat the paperwork to be sorted out, but we got sorted on it, so we didn't.
Yeah, isn't that the way? Whenever there's a wall to get something done, there's always a way, and and it's done the right way as well.
Correctly, yeah, correct. And look, we have always to be. You have to be thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Nowadays, look at we can't all be milking cows.
No.
We have to be. We have to be. You have to divert around and try and do something different. And it's the same like when the J1000s came in. Like, is it 8 years ago? And the first rally they ran, there was 2 at it, and then it was 3, and it stayed at 3 then for a year or 2, and they didn't know how to take off. And in fairness to Sean McHugh and the lads in the academy there, they really pushed and tried it. Like we have 24 J1000s entered for the Clare Rally this evening.
Brilliant.
And we have four new ones that have never been out in forestry coming as well. And to see those guys and girls, that one of them, and Kayla O'Sullivan from our own club here, and Finn Gardner, who will be doing his second rally, to see those guys of 14, 15 years of age competing in driving the exact same stages as a World Rally champion.
Yeah.
And running ahead of him on the road. I mean, like, look at the honour it is for them guys, like,
I think, Denis, you talk about the history of rallying and wanting to compete against, pat yourself against the lobes or whatever. Like, imagine being 14, 15 years of age and looking across the service area and seeing Peter Solberg stepping about. Like, talk about pinch yourself moments.
It is. When I'm 50, I'm excited.
I thought you were 60.
It's there. But, no, it's amazing. Like, even in 2019 when Ken Block came, I happened to be in the same class as him, and you're thinking, "Geez, no, it's amazing." But it is, but the bracket of people, the diverse crowd is coming with the bowler. Like Tom Bell's from Dubai, based in Dubai. You have Shane Lynch from Boyzone. Shane's doing it, and it'll be the Battle of the Monster. Both Shane are sponsored by Monster Energy.
Yes,
it's a battle there between them. I think the two of them do a lot of things together anyway. They would do different driving stuff together. So there's a great diversity of people. But then if you take in everybody else from around the country is doing it, the 14-year-olds, it's great. It's very inclusive of every every parish. Every parish is represented.
Yeah, for sure. And Gerry, you talked about you're doing 3 stages. You're repeating that, doing a double loop of that. Like six fantastic stages. And your service area, like you said there, like this is exceptional. You can have the whole event there. Never mind anything else.
That's it. And the one thing, Kevin, that we did this year, and look, we did it by accident. Like when I was out on the road at a couple of other forestry events, I had competitors were saying to us that one service in a forestry is not a lot really. We need kind of 2 services, because doing 3 stages and 1 service and going on 2, 3 stages again, it can be fairly hard work on a car. Like, so when we picked our 3 stages and picked the area and the format we've run, I didn't want to be sending the competitors out of service and down into what we now know as stage 3 and giving them a 17-kilometre stage first thing in the morning. Give them a chance to bed themselves in. So what I'm doing is we have stage 1, 2, and then they come back into Scala for service. And then they're doing 3, and they're going up the country then to 4, 5, and back in for a second service.
Yes.
And then, obviously, with the last round is Sligo Palace Championship. And what a way to wrap up the championship after the last service, 17 kilometres.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that is going to be some challenge for each and every one of those crews, right from the junior 1000 right through, the bowlers, the top Rally 2 R5 cars, the rear wheel drive. That's going to be epic.
It is, yeah, it is. And on top of that, like, the Killarney stages are familiar, the Carrick-on-Shore stages are familiar, the Munster stages are familiar. These are not familiar.
There's nobody that's any, and they haven't seen an in car, they haven't drove these, they don't know where the cuts are. It's all going to be new to everybody.
It's new to everybody, yeah. It's a very level playing field, so it is.
Yeah, and then sorry, Denis.
Sorry, you were just chatting about cuts there. Like just watching the Bushwhacker at the weekend there, the big cuts and the speed in Irish Rally is unreal. Like
it is.
You were yourself, and the speed of that level stuff it's unreal. Yeah. Like it's tarmac speed.
Oh, it is, yeah, and more in places, yeah. Yeah.
And the car control they have is unbelievable. Like that, everybody, and like I seen a clip of Shane McGirr and the ladder. Like it's unreal.
Yeah. Because like I've said it before, the end car of Shane in Denver from the Lakeland. If nobody has watched it before, go and watch it. It's just unbelievable. It's crazy, like the ground they cover so quickly.
Yeah.
And the thought before, like they're driving the corner long before the corner arrives.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will be interesting in Clare because nobody knows the stages, nobody's seen the stages apart from their DVD. It will be very exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sure. And Gerry, like obviously sponsors is very important as well too, and you have some good people there behind you as well.
We have, yeah. When we planning this event, we had our rally launch last Thursday night in Shields Motor Group in Denis. Shields Motor Group are Ford dealership, and they also have Peugeot and the Hyundai franchise. So they have the Hyundai franchise on it since May, and brand new showroom, and we had our launch there. And Michael Fitzgibbon Construction, Michael, who will be a very good competitor within the club, rallies a Peugeot 208, has been a massive supporter of the club down through the years. He has come on board as a co-sponsor with Shields Motor Group. And like without those people, we are going nowhere, and it's important to recognise that. I suppose I'm working in Shields Motor Group myself, and when I approached them and there was a bit of pressure on trying to get the launch up and running because they're new to motorsport as well. They trusted me and they knew my history, and they said, look, we'll row in behind you and see how it goes. And they did, in fairness, and they were very, very impressed. I got a lovely text on Friday morning from the boss telling me what a great night it was the night before and well done, and that kind of a job isn't done. It takes a lot of work to put a job like that together, and that's only a launch. Yes. And like fairness to Denis came down. He was to bring the bowler, but that didn't happen. But he brought a beautiful Subaru instead, and to bring that car all the way from Donegal down to Clare for that launch. We really, as a club, we really appreciate it, and I appreciate it. And there was a cracking crowd. I mean, there was a really good crowd there. It was a historic night. Just to talk about it for a second, 42 years ago, the rally was held on the 2nd of January 1982. Right, it was ran out of a pub, and there was no rally suits. There was not a lot, in fairness, and it was one stage done 3 times. But Joe McHale, brother of Austin,
yes,
won the event with Ken Butterfield. Now I didn't know Ken Butterfield. I had to Google him to see was he on Facebook. I found a friend of his. A mutual friend who I would know very well, and I rang that mutual friend. Would you have a number for Ken Butterfield? Who's he? I said, you're friends with him on Facebook. So she went in and she found him. Oh yeah, I know him. I'll get a number for him. He's a photographer. So I made a phone call then to Ken, told him who I was. He didn't know who I was, and I told him how we were doing. And he said, do you know what? I'd love to go down to it. So then I had to ring Joe McHale, and Joe said he'd come down. So in the process of all this planning, typical Joe McHale finished the rally, load the car and going home. And I said, load the car, tied the front of the car onto a rope and tied the rope onto the back of another car and towed up to Maynooth. I said, that's what I was doing at that time. So anyway, it transpired that the two boys had gone and never collected their awards. So obviously we didn't have the awards 42 years later, but we presented them with our awards last Thursday night.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was fantastic. And they didn't expect it. And we even got the clerk of the course in that was there 42 years ago.
Brilliant.
The man that sponsored the rally is Mike Knocklin, who has since passed away, but his son Keith is a very, very active member of the club. And Keith came on board as well. And we had the trophies done, sponsored by Clare Casper in it. And Keith and Gerry Quinn did the presentation. And do you know what? 42 years ago, it was great to see all four people alive, kicking, and in great health. And, you know, and be there to collect our awards.
Yeah, what a lovely story. And then,
very night. It was Jerry, well done. And I think it's the first rally launch that I was ever at that there was a prize given at.
Cut out the middleman altogether.
The news wasn't out about Solberg at that stage, and I thought, geez, Peter Solberg's going to be very cross. These boys have won the rally. But no, it was a very good night, Jerry, and great food. There was a great crowd of people and a great gathering.
Yeah.
It was very well done, very well executed, so it was. So I'm sure the rally will run as well, and if the rally's going to go by the start, it'll be amazing.
Yes. And another thing, Kevin, that has happened as well on the night, and this, I'd say this is another first for motorsport. John Sullivan from Clare Motor Club, he would be a club member, I'd say, since the club was formed 40 odd years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years ago. And he rallies Peugeots and Citroens most of the time, but he has a beautiful Peugeot 205. You might have seen it there on the night.
I did.
But he rallies a Citroen C2 as well. And his son is rallying a Peugeot 208. And his granddaughter is rallying a Peugeot 107 in the J1000s. And I think that's the first for Irish motorsport, where you have three generations of the one family driving three cars in the one rally.
Wow, that is brilliant, isn't it? I suppose to wrap things up then, if anybody wants to get involved, compete, the entries are still open this week anyway, and get your name in there, be quick.
I know this podcast is probably going out on Friday night, so
Thursday this week. Yeah.
The entries will be open until Thursday night, 10 o'clock. We're going well with entries. We would like to see a few more. I think we're knocking on the door of 100 at this stage.
Excellent.
But we would like to see a few more by then and see how it looks. Seeding will be done on Friday, and it will be published on the Sunday.
Excellent. And as well, I suppose, finally, every club needs marshals to make events happen. If anybody wants to get involved from that point of view as well too.
Look at Peter Solberg coming to Clare is going to bring an awful lot of spectators.
Yeah.
You know, we are planning that there's going to be a big number of spectators out there. Maria O'Donoghue, she does chief marshal all over the country. She is a Cork woman who is one of the best club members we have. And Maria is our chief marshal once again. And anybody that's able to give a helping hand at all, you know, if you're coming to spectate, it's as easy marshal as it is to spectate. So I would say if anybody is coming down to really give a helping hand, we want to put on the show. We are running 6 stages. I am conscious that Forestry Rally is expensive on the competitor. We want to give every competitor 100% of the stages, you know, and without marshals, that's not going to happen. So, you know, if anybody that's out there, whatever club you're from, if you can make your way down to us on the weekend, marshals, meeting pints and all that will be published on Sporty in due course. And the club will really appreciate it, and the competitors appreciate it as well. And I suppose a Forestry Rally this time of the year, I know it is Ricky weekend probably for Donegal as well, but there might be a lot of local competitors that concentrate on tarmac rallying, don't do Forestry rallying. Well, maybe this is a chance to come out and give a bit back.
So thanks there to Gerry and Denis, and best luck to everyone in Clare. Now, not this weekend, obviously next weekend. What can we say? That's another episode of Krunching Gears. Thank you very much for listening. Could you please like and share, please? As I said before, it makes a huge difference. And so until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.